Let's get real. You're here because you're hungry for growth. You want to level up. But let's be honest. Right now, you feel stuck. You're grinding, you're putting in the effort, but the results, they're just not showing up like they should. Because leveling up isn't just about working harder, it's about breaking through the invisible barriers that are holding you back. Barriers that most people don't even realize exist. You will never outperform the belief you have about yourself. That's a fact. Your identity, the way you see yourself, is like a thermostat. No matter how much effort you put in, if your internal setting is too low, you'll always find a way to cool yourself back down. Think about it. Have you ever had a moment where you started winning? Maybe you made more money, got in great shape, or built momentum in your career, only to sabotage yourself? That's because your internal thermostat was still set at a lower level. Maybe you subconsciously felt like you didn't deserve that success, or you weren't truly the kind of person who could sustain it. This isn't a lack of talent or effort. It's a self-imposed limit based on your identity. On the flip side, have you ever seen someone who seems to always find a way to win no matter what? That's because their thermostat is set high. Even if they lose money, they make it back. Even if they face setbacks, they bounce back stronger. Their identity won't allow them to stay at a lower level for long. The key to leveling up is raising your identity before the results show up. You don't wait until you're successful to see yourself as successful. You have to act, think, and operate like the higher version of yourself now. This means changing the way you talk to yourself. Most people have an inner dialogue filled with doubt, negativity, and limitations. If you keep telling yourself, "I'm just not that disciplined," or "I've never been good at making money," you're reinforcing the identity that keeps you stuck. Instead, you have to start saying, "I am a person who follows through. I am disciplined. I create wealth." Even if it doesn't feel true yet, your mind will start working to align your actions with that new belief. It also means shifting your habits. Your actions reinforce your identity. If you wake up late, skip workouts, and procrastinate, you're telling yourself that you're the kind of person who lacks discipline. But if you wake up early, push through discomfort, and take action even when you don't feel like it, you start to believe you're the kind of person who is committed, driven, and successful. And perhaps most importantly, it means upgrading your environment. If you spend time around people who accept mediocrity, that's the level you'll stay at. But if you surround yourself with high achievers, your identity will start to rise to match theirs. You'll naturally absorb their standards, beliefs, and mindset. So if you feel stuck, ask yourself, what's my thermostat set at? What kind of person do I truly believe I am? Once you raise your identity, your results will inevitably follow. Growth is uncomfortable. That's just a reality. Most people want to level up, but they aren't willing to embrace the discomfort that comes with it. They say they want to be successful, but when the process gets tough, they retreat to what's familiar, and that's exactly why they stay stuck. Comfort is the silent killer of progress. When you're comfortable, you stop pushing yourself. You settle into routines that feel easy, and before you know it, weeks, months, or even years go by without real progress. If you're not where you want to be in life, it's probably because you've prioritized comfort over growth. Think about the times in your life when you made the biggest leaps forward. Maybe it was when you took on a challenge you didn't feel ready for, or when you pushed through fear and did something that made you nervous. Those moments of discomfort were where you grew the most. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand your capacity. You stretch what you're capable of, and that's how you level up. The problem is, most people run from that feeling. The second things get hard, they convince themselves that it's not the right time or that they're not ready. But the truth is, discomfort is the sign that you're on the right path. If you're uncomfortable, it means you're growing. It means you're doing something that's stretching you into a higher version of yourself. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for motivation to push them through discomfort. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. If you only take action when you feel like it, you'll never build consistency. The people who truly level up don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. They embrace the discomfort because they know it's a necessary part of growth. Another reason people stay in their comfort zones is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But fear is just a mental barrier, and the only way to overcome it is by taking action. The more you face fear head on, the more confidence you build. Eventually, the things that once scared you become second nature. The key is to start getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Seek out challenges instead of avoiding them. Push yourself to do things that make you nervous. Develop a habit of stepping outside your comfort zone every single day. Because the truth is, everything you want, the success, the financial freedom, the personal growth, is just on the other side of discomfort. So ask yourself, where in your life are you choosing comfort over growth? Where are you playing it safe instead of taking bold action? The moment you decide to embrace discomfort is the moment you start unlocking your next level. Your environment is shaping you more than you realize. The people you spend the most time with, the conversations you engage in, the habits you see every day, all of these things are influencing your mindset, your actions, and ultimately your results. If you're struggling to level up, one of the biggest reasons could be that you're in the wrong environment. Most people underestimate how much their surroundings dictate their success. They think they can maintain high standards while being surrounded by negativity, laziness, or mediocrity. But that's impossible. You cannot consistently outperform your environment. If you're around people who settle for average, you'll eventually do the same. If you're around people who make excuses, you'll start making excuses too. It's not because you're weak, it's because that's how human nature works. We adapt to what's around us. The fastest way to elevate your life is to change your environment. Find people who are already operating at a higher level than you and spend time with them. When you're in a room full of winners, you have no choice but to level up. Their habits, their mindset, their energy, it all rubs off on you. You start thinking bigger. You start demanding more from yourself. You stop making the excuses that seemed valid before because now you're surrounded by people who prove that success is possible. But changing your environment isn't just about people, it's also about what you consume. What kind of content are you feeding your mind? Are you constantly scrolling through social media, watching negativity, and listening to people who reinforce limiting beliefs? Or are you filling your mind with books, podcasts, and conversations that inspire growth? The information you take in daily is shaping your perspective and ultimately determining your actions. Another aspect of your environment is your physical space. Is your workspace cluttered and disorganized? Is your home set up in a way that promotes productivity and focus? Your surroundings impact your energy and clarity more than you think. Small changes, like creating a workspace that encourages deep work or spending time in places that inspire you, can have a massive impact on your performance. If you're serious about leveling up, you need to audit your environment. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Pay attention to what you're listening to, reading, and watching. Does it fuel growth or keep you stuck? Assess the spaces you spend time in. Do they help you focus and perform at your best, or are they full of distractions and limitations? Your success isn't just about effort, it's about alignment. You need to be in an environment that forces you to grow, challenges your limits, and exposes you to new levels of thinking. If you're not surrounded by that kind of environment, create it. Seek out mentors, join communities, and put yourself in places that demand more from you. Because when you change your environment, you change your life. Your standards determine your future. The results you're getting right now, whether in your career, relationships, finances, or health, are a direct reflection of what you've been willing to tolerate. If you're not where you want to be, it's because your standards are too low. Most people don't realize that they are operating within self-imposed limits. They settle for good enough because it feels comfortable. They accept mediocre effort, average results, and excuses from themselves and others. But the truth is, if you want to level up, you have to raise your standards in every area of your life. Look at the most successful people in the world. They don't have some secret formula. They just refuse to accept anything less than excellence. They don't tolerate laziness, excuses, or inconsistency. They demand the best from themselves and everyone around them. And because of that, they operate at a completely different level than most people. So how do you raise your standards? First, you have to become aware of where you're settling. Be brutally honest with yourself. Where in your life have you been making excuses? Where have you been accepting results that are beneath your potential? Maybe it's in your finances, where you've been tolerating just getting by instead of demanding financial growth. Maybe it's in your health, where you've accepted being out of shape instead of committing to peak physical condition. Or maybe it's in your relationships, where you've allowed negativity, drama, or a lack of support to stay in your life. Once you identify the areas where your standards are too low, you need to make a decision, not a wish, not a hope, a decision that from this moment forward, you will no longer accept anything less than what you're truly capable of. This is what separates successful people from everyone else. They don't just set goals, they change their identity. They decide that being disciplined, successful, and high-performing isn't just something they want, it's who they are. Raising your standards also means changing your habits. You can't expect new results with old behaviors. If you want to be at a higher level, you have to act like it. That means showing up earlier, working harder, and eliminating distractions. It means saying no to things that don't align with your new standard. It means surrounding yourself with people who hold you accountable instead of those who enable your excuses. And here's the most important part. Once you raise your standards, you can't lower them. Too many people get motivated, set big goals, and start strong only to fall back into their old ways when things get tough. But if you're truly committed, there is no going back. You have to make excellence your new normal. The difference between the life you have now and the life you want comes down to what you're willing to accept. If you demand more from yourself every single day, you will level up. But it starts with you making the decision to raise your standards and never settling again.